This is what's happening, right? Oh, here we go. We are live. So we've been having technical problems for all of our viewers out there. So I want to apologize and let you know that normally we do this recording in a studio setting with lots of nice lighting and get rid of all the angles. So forgive me for turning my hat on backwards because I like to be able to see you and you see my eyes and we can all talk. I didn't think it was going to go live. I've been having issues here doing this. Well, let's get into the message. Faithfulness. We've been talking about King David. Wow, look at my hair, man. That's why you don't do this at a studio, because your hair is just all over the place. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? I got one person looking at me going, you are not beautiful. We've been talking about the life of David. So let's talk about David. So David was, we all know, the boy who slew Goliath. And he became the king, second king of Israel. All right. So where I want to start with David now is actually as the shepherd. Because, you know, one of the things I'm dealing with in my company, right, one of my companies right now, is I got people that I have that all, and they're in every organization I've ever had. So Mr. Ty is going to assist, actually, while I'm doing this. If you could get out the chargers that go to this, and the cord plugs in right there on the side on one of these sides. Sorry, guys. Again, this was on the someone's got some, might be able to help them. So when we talk about the kingdom, everyone wants the keys to the kingdom, but nobody wants to do the work to get there. When you have no money, I didn't have as many friends. When you have money, you have a lot of friends. You guys all know what I'm talking about. Everyone here knows it. Luckily, most of the people I associate myself with knew me when I actually lost everything. So I keep that circle nice and tight. But that's just life. And look at David. How did David become king? He didn't become king overnight, and it's a process. And when you want to be king, and what that means, by the way, is not being king of a country or the president of a corporation or, you know, ruling the world. No, it means being king of your life. To be king of your life, to rule and reign in your life, that right there, when it comes to ruling and reigning, that's being a king. And ruling and reigning in your life means that you have control of it. I know a lot of people that don't have control of their life. So how do you learn that? Well, you got to be faithful in the little things. It's the little things. I worked for a guy named Brian. Y'all know him. It's one of my best friends out there. He's like a brother to me. Brian was a construction. I knew everything about construction as a developer, the guy who wrote the checks, but never as a worker. And I had to be a worker. I had to dig holes. I had to dig pots and then move the holes and fill them back up because people are stupid in construction. And they literally will make you dig something just so you have something to do, even though you're going to unfill that and dig it up again. But they didn't want their boss taking you to another job site. So they just want you to look like you're busy. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is New York style. But Brian would give me tasks and I was faithful with that little task. And even the guys would say to me, dude, you know, you don't have to do all that like that. I would say, excuse me, did you not hear the boss? The boss said to do it like this. And they would say to me, you don't have to. Every one of the guys that said they didn't have to are all still working at a place that's called HireQuest, which is a temp agency. And I got 7 figures coming in. So whose attitude should you follow? Just think about that for 2 seconds. That guy's or this guy. In that scenario, I definitely would follow my attitude. I learned it from some of the best. Now, I'm not always perfect, but that attitude got me to my next step, which got me to my next step, and took me from $20 in my pocket to millions of dollars. Faithfulness in the little things. So let's talk about some scriptures. One of the ones I like, and I pulled up, and I took a picture of it because I wanted to go over it. When you're emphasizing commitment, diligence, and carrying out responsibilities, they're given by God, but also given by your employer, even as a volunteer, sir. As a volunteer, you're volunteering, but just because you volunteer doesn't mean you're allowed to do a crappy job. You're doing a job. You're volunteering for it. You should do the same job, the same quality of a job as you when you volunteer, as though you were being paid $1 million like a celebrity. Do you know it's amazing when I pay people at companies 6 figures? They all snap to because they're getting paid a fortune. It's a simple fact. Well, if you treat your job as though it's that way, even though you're working at McDonald's, do you know what happens? My dear friend over there can tell you. You get promoted and you keep getting promoted and people like you and they keep hiring you. But if you're not faithful, so let's talk about that. And again, it talks about the scripture, and that's what we're getting to right here, because when you look at the scriptures, the one that I want to talk about is Luke 16:10. It states that being faithful in small things will lead to being entrusted with greater responsibilities. So if I can do this one deal, then the people involved in that one, it's only a 1.1 million, but all of a sudden they're like, okay, this is the real deal. Then you go on to your next deal and it's 3 million. And then that next one a year later is 10. Then your next one's 40 million. And they just keep going up. Why? Because when you were faithful with the little tiny one, when I got out, this home was not Jonathan's refuge. This was someone else's. And I lived in what's currently called the garage. And I had rain pouring through the roof on me, soaking me. And the man who ran the place said, it's not my problem. Faithful in the little things. Had that same man been faithful as I was faithful to him, had he just returned the faithfulness, he would not be where he's at right now. And his whole entire company wouldn't have gone under. See, someone would say, well, then why were you faithful to him? You didn't have to be. I wasn't faithful to him. Make sure you understand this. I wasn't faithful to that man. Do you know who I was faithful to?
So, you're God.
God and yourself.
Yep.
God and yourself. I answer to God. So do you. I've died 3 times. I can assure you there is a deity. We can debate. You can try to debate me. I've seen what's up there, so I know what's coming. And we all have a price to pay for our actions. There's a seed that is sown, and we reap it. Now, a lot of people think there's an afterlife punishment. Honestly, between you and me, I think that punishment is right here and right now. We're living in hell. We're just walking through it, trying to get through it, to get back to that perfect spiritual being we were before we came back down to this old place. But David had brothers. Now, those brothers hated him. He was a tiny guy. They didn't like him. And his father and them, the mother was not liked. They all had different moms. But hers was like a tribe. It was like he was known as the bastard. Think of that. You got a dozen brothers and he's known as the bastard. So what do you do to him? You send him out to the field. So if you were David, let me ask you a question. Would you actually honestly tell yourself, don't answer it out loud. Tell yourself this truthfully to yourself and only to you, because only you and God answer these questions. Would you be satisfied being the greatest shepherd? Would you wake up saying, I'm going to be the greatest shepherd today? Would you wake up and say, I'm going to risk my life to fight this lion that's coming at me right now? There's a lion out here. They had an old lion that they had, right? And there's a story about it. Some say it's BS. Some say it's true. I don't care if it is or isn't. It's a great story in the respect of what we're talking about. So if there's a lion there, you're going to give your life for the sheep that you walk around and they crap all over the ground that you have to walk through? Are you? Because he did. Now, some people I know would say, nope, not me. I wouldn't. And do you know who those people were back then? No, I don't either. I don't know either. And the reason I don't know and you don't know, they never did anything. That's because they did nothing. David said, well, I will be faithful to the sheep in this country hillside. And in being faithful to the sheep, God saw that. And then after God comes what? First the spiritual, then the physical. So after God said, I see you, then the physical was, then the prophet came and said, I see you. You are God's next king. Sorry if you guys hear the dog. He's in the background. So there's the story, if you will, of this boy who's been faithful. And when you look at faithfulness, I can't stress this enough. You know, faithfulness is a hard thing for some people. Some people say it's virtue. I have 2 sides of me that I'm torn. I am. I'll discuss with everyone in this house and all over the internet right now the terror that I struggle with. I have a loyalty to the men in my life. in the past, men that I've gone to battle with in the illegal world from decades ago. I would do anything to protect them. But I'm also torn because I won't break the law. I'm a good man now. I don't break the law. I'm not going to risk going to prison because some ex-con buddy of mine is going to stash a body and wants me to help him get rid of it. Sorry, not happening. You're on your own. Please don't call me back. But I have guys that come into our organization. And sorry, but our German Shepard is here. If you guys see her coming over, can you kind of help me, please? I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to record and handle all this.
Bell.
Can somebody please, TJ, could you get Bell for me?
Bell, yeah.
Again, I really apologize.
No, he's calling you.
So here's this kid, and all he wants to do is just be with his brothers and be one of them. Flash to modern time. What does everybody want? The house, the Mercedes, the jewelry, the vacation. That's what everyone wants. They all want it. The retirement. And everyone's is a little different, okay? You might want a speedboat when another guy just wants a little tiny boat that's a piece of junk fishing boat that he can go throw out line in the lake and go fishing anytime he wants with that little 10 power or whatever, 10 horsepower engine, okay? Every guy's and gal's dream is a different one. But at the end of the day, they all have their little dream. Everyone does. And they all want it. But see, what have you done to get it? Look at Rachel in the Bible. You guys remember the story? So this guy, he wants to go and marry this woman, and he's promised her in hand in marriage if she works for her father for 7 years. Works for him for 7 years, only to find out that on the marriage night, which you were not allowed to see the wife beforehand, that he actually got married to the older sister, the first sister. That's not who he was made a deal for. And then he was faithful for another 7 because the dad said, yeah, I tricked you, but if you work 7 more years for me in my fields, I will give you the girl you wanted. Would you be able to honestly say you're going to be that faithful? I don't know. That's an interesting question. But he was faithful. David was faithful in the shepherd's field with his father's flock. Well, how do you plan to be a king? I don't. Some of those questions, how would he know? I don't know. I mean, how would he think? You have no idea. He's a shepherd boy. He had no aspirations to be king. But all he wanted was acceptance from his brothers, his peers, is what he wanted. He just wanted to be one of the men. And when he couldn't wait to go to war, because that's what the men did back then. But again, he was just, to them, a punk and a bastard. Any of you guys ever felt like a bastard? I'm serious. I'll put the first hand up. I'm not wanted in my family. Nobody could care if they saw me. You know how many times I've been in the hospital on death's door? Y'all know. You guys have been through it more. You guys are my family. You guys send me emails and texts and cards and, hey, Rev, you okay? I know I'm not supposed to call you. The CC threatened to kill me and skin me, but I still had to call because, I'm Cam. That's what I do. And those calls mean things to me. Those texts, you're my family, my familia. My family doesn't care about me. I'm a bastard. So I relate to David. I really do relate to him. And I know a lot of you do too. But yet he was faithful. And we're always so fast to rush off and get the big thing, get the big game. You know what I was faithful with? This place right here. Right here. This little place right here. I was faithful with another man's dream. His dream. I had mine. That was mine. But I couldn't build my dream yet because I had to work in his dream to get him to where he needed, which then would get me to where I needed. You follow me? That's how you do it. I didn't get to be famous and speaking across the globe because I took on Tony Robbins. No, I served him. I served John Maxwell. I went down on Saturdays and I was that guy that sat at the booth at the church and said, come on in, brothers, welcome. What's your name? Yep, here's your little card. And I did that and I did it over and over. And I was just that guy. And I used to call my dad going, why do I have to go to San Diego to do this? Because he's one of the greatest men on leadership in the world. And you will learn. And someday you'll be so grateful for these lessons. And I was. But I had to be faithful. And I have to be faithful. And you have to be faithful if you want to succeed in anything in life. You want to lose weight? I can tell you how to do it. My buddy over here can too, because he did it together with me. It's just being faithful. It's literally not making an excuse. Like tonight, I took the napkin, I put my hand in that KFC bucket, and I, with the napkin, picked up. If there would have been a drumstick, I'd have been in trouble because I was going in for the drumstick. I was committed. But I chose not to. I was faithful to my restrictions because I'm really struggling with my health. And I have great health, but my doctors tell me I'm struggling. So I ate the chicken that was just a regular chicken, and I had a little salad because I'm being faithful. Yeah. I'm only eating once a day now. I'm doing a diet following a guy that's the Harvard Dean of Medicine and a couple other guys that are doing this. They're talking about fasting in between your meals. One says if you do it, 12 hours apart, it's the same. Another guy says just once a day. I don't care which. I'm trying something and it's working and I'm happy. But you have to be faithful. How do you get investments? Anybody? You can retire as a millionaire from the age of 18 if you just put $100 into the S&P 500. Never touch it. Just $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. If that's all you did for the rest of your life from 18 to 65, I believe the last time I did the math, it's $1.5 or $1.6 million. Yeah. It's no magical thing, guys. It's just being faithful by putting $100 a month away. I've only got 5 years left to my retirement. Okay, I'm 49. I had $20 to my name. I started with nothing. I was faithful with another man's project. And then my opportunity came and God said, you're ready. And then in essence, the same prophet, same scenario. It's just modern time. And then you do it and it's time to pull the trigger. And then next thing you know, you're like, whoa, how did this happen? Well, it's because you were faithful. And I want to encourage you guys to be faithful in your life. I want you to encourage you to be faithful in your tasks. I am exhausted right now. The church, anyone that knows I'm looking like I'm falling apart. I am. I feel like it. We're buying this $1.1 million property. This thing is complicated. We just had somebody screw it up big time. I mean, big time. It still could fall apart now. This is so many moving parts, and I can't even explain how complicated. It's not a normal mortgage loan. It's a bond-backed mortgage, and I'm not even going to explain that. For those that don't know, it's super complicated. It's the most complicated loan you could get. So why do it? There's a lot of reasons. And all of this is got all these balls and you're just you're juggling them in the air. And then here's what happens. You're juggling and you're doing a good job. But you got all these other hands out here. And they just want to take the one bub and the whole house of cards come flying down. You know what I mean? You ever been in that situation? You ever been in trouble? And even though you were diligent, you still ended up getting wrapped up in the whole thing and your life came apart. But someone else reached in. That happens a lot in life. The more successful you get, the more that's going to happen. So what do? You stay faithful. Stay faithful to your task. Stay faithful to your task. You want to lose weight? Stay faithful to what you put in your mouth. Stay faithful to what your exercise is going out. You want to improve your marriage? I always tell people, don't ask me for marriage advice. I was married for 19 and a half years and got divorced. So I'm no success model. And I'll tell you what not to do. I got a great list of the things you shouldn't do as a husband. I can speak to that. But one of the things I can speak to is my life that I've really been good at doing is being faithful. And if you ask the board and the people that oversee my life, that's one of the things they usually will tell people. That guy's very faithful. When you tell him you need this done, he'll do it just like you said, because he said, I'll do it the way you want, boss. That's how I made my living in my life, and people entrusted me then more and more. And that's why every job I ever went to, I became the owner's favorite guy. I never kissed one keister in my entire career. If anything, I was the guy that actually kicked up a little too much cane and offended the royalty of the bosses. But I was so good at what I did and being faithful that they want that person around and they'll keep them. But when you're not faithful at the little things, you get nothing in life. If you're not faithful at keeping your car cleaned, you're not faithful at keeping your bed made, you're not faithful at doing anything. One of the things I love about that man right there, and I won't say his name, my buddy, is whenever I look in that room for whatever reason, that's a Marine right there. And do you know why the military? And do you know why in prison? And he knows this. Do you know why they make you make your bed? You know, in prison, sir, do you know that you would be written up and put in the hole if you don't make your bed every day? Do you know why they do that? Same reason why the Marines do it. Same reason why the Navy and the SEALs make them do it. It's because if you can start the first task of your day off with accomplishment, then everything else is easy from there. And if the whole day falls apart, what do you have to go back to? A nicely made bed to bury your tears in. Man, success, eureka. First thing I do every day is I actually make my bed. It's the first thing I do. And I've been trying to teach this lesson to so many people around me. It's amazing how many guys just never hear the lesson. And you can tell who those guys are. Walk out in the parking lot right now and go look in their cars. Go look at my car. Go look at Mike's car. Go look at Cam's car. Go look at anyone's car. Go look at anybody's car. And now don't do that because then you might get shot. But my point is, you can look at people's cars and you can see how I act. The way I treat my car is the way I treat my house. It's a great tip I learned in real estate. When you want to rent a house, tell the people to go in the home, pretend like you're on a phone call and walk around their car and look inside. How their car is how your rental will be when they leave. Greatest tip in real estate I ever learned. Well, that tip actually flows through your whole life. Go look in your rooms. Is it a mess? Is there crap everywhere? Then there's crap everywhere in your life. Then there's crap in your relationships. If you can't have order in your life and rule and reign over it, then how do you expect to get anything? You want stuff? I want this. I want this. I want this. I hear people tell me all the time what they want. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Okay. Where's the faithfulness in the little things? Now, that, by the way, doesn't mean anyone in here or out there. This is a message that I'm teaching, and I always tell people what I go through. And I have to remind myself with this diet that I'm changing and my health because of my kidneys failing, that I have to be faithful. And I just got to go back and remember, okay, how am I really? Oh, I'm really good at that. Okay, just go back to the basics, man. You're faithful. Okay, I don't need to worry about the rest of the week. I just need to worry about today. Today's Thursday, and I'm eating one meal, and that was it. There's my meal. I have one meal to eat, and I can enjoy it. I can have some of the chicken. I can have some more salad, but I'm going to be faithful. I just need to do today. And then tomorrow's a whole nother day. Well, what about tomorrow? And I've been doing that faithfully this week, and my body's been changing. I've dropped some weight. The heart, the blood is getting the water off my lungs and my heart. It's slowly, it's little, but it's faithful. That's why I'm talking about this. Are you struggling in your life with something? I don't know what, but I know I am. And for me, it's my health. So I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm using David's example to say what he did. And what he did was he was faithful. So as we close, and I know I just went over a minute, I just want everyone to remember something. I value your faithfulness. There's a lot of people that I'm looking at here that I really value y'all's faithfulness. Some of you are so faithful. I've never been turned down, honestly, when I've asked for help from any of you. You've been very faithful. My dad is a hoot. And a few of you get a chance to go sometimes and spend time with them. Those are things that I am grateful that I have people around me that are faithful like that. Those are things that are precious to me. My wife, she's very valuable and precious to me. The people here treat her with respect and dignity. Do you know that someone asked me this question? And I want the world to know this. They actually said to me, do you ever worry about the people around you? Think about it. I got the largest private mental health practice. Do you know that we see people that are on the street that have psychotic breaks on a daily basis? People that actually, their aliens talk to them. And they talk to my wife and our staff and all these people. And think of that. Those people can come and kill my wife or our staff. I mean, they know where the addresses are of the offices. They don't necessarily know where they live. But, you know, if you want to get creative, you could. That's kind of a horrible thing. So they asked me what I thought about all that. And I said, oh, no, my wife's probably in the safest place in the world. You don't know the people at the refuge. The people at the refuge is the bodyguards. The people on the street, they are the ones you do need to worry about, the ones we see out there. The men at the refuge, that's my family, my familia. These people would lay their life down for me to see. I never blink. I love the men that I work with. They're my family. You know, you ever hear someone say this? And I hear this a lot in churches. They refer to people, their church members as those folks.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't ever say that. I hate that term. You're not those folks. We're we folks. It's us, folks. We're in this battle together. I am no different than you. I'm just a human being who might have a few things down that maybe a few people don't. And I want to lock arms with people that have a positive attitude. And I want to help that ball move down the street. And faithfulness is how we can do that. So let's try to strive this week for David's faithfulness in our life. Maybe it's just getting up. Maybe it's being nice. Some of you are irritating. Some of you are irritating sometimes, aren't you? Okay, it's true. But sometimes we got to be faithful to just, okay, I'm not going to smack you. That takes faithfulness, just so you know. It does when someone irritates you. It takes faithfulness to not smack them. It really does. I'll be the first one to say it's sometimes the easiest thing for me to do would be to smack a guy. So one good whammo. All right, I love you guys. We'll see you next week. And you guys.